My twin took a job with a company that doesn't exist. Written by ClackinData. I'm looking for some advice. My brother has just been hired by this international engineering company called Sochten and Hayek. It sounded pretty cool until he went for the interview. I thought that he had died. Actually, I'm gonna take a few steps back so that this kind of halfway makes sense. Jason, my twin, and we have this, well, I guess it's an ability. I mean, we can sense each other. You know how some parents have feelings and they, shortly after this, find out that something terrible has happened to their child? Well, it's a little like that. There was this time in elementary school that I remember so vividly. I was playing tag with some friends, trying to get away, looking back to see my pursuer chasing me. Then I ran into the playground slide. Not one of those modern plastic ones, no, the metal ones. The ones that become so scalding hot in the sun. Anyway, I tripped over it and I broke my arm on its far edge. It was a clean break, an easy fix for a doctor. Of course, I was crying my eyes out in agony as the pain burned up my arm. My friend ran to get a teacher, but before he could get very far, Jason came running out of the building, dragging a teacher behind him. I was rushed to the hospital and everything was fine. I got a bunch of signatures on my cast. Well, after that, Jason told me that he felt something was wrong, and he just knew that he needed to get a teacher for me. That was when we were young and we hadn't quite figured out that we had this skill. Then there was the time that he got lost in a corn maze in high school. It's actually a long story. Maybe I'll tell it another time or get him to relive it. Anyway, I could sense that he was lost. We split up when we went in, and after some screwing around, I came out of the maze, and so did everyone else that we went in with. But he didn't. Everyone was saying just to wait and that he would find his way out. But I knew that he was having trouble getting out. I could feel it in my chest. Something was pulling me back in. I followed the sensation, and bam, I find him running through the corn, not even a maze, just rows of corn, directly towards me. Note, we were deep into the field when we reached each other. He was very rattled by the experience. I'm pretty sure the version that he told me wasn't true. So for now, let's just say that he was lost. Anyway, that's just a couple of the bigger things that have happened. But there's been lots of smaller ones. On a day-to-day basis, we'll be in sync with each other. We just know what to do that helps the other one out. I'll be putting lunch together, and if it feels right, I'll cut up something, like tomatoes or apples. Or I'll leave some topping out, like jelly or mustard. It's not like we merely appreciate the effort. It's always something that the other wanted in the first place, without ever saying. Run out of toilet paper? No big deal. Just open the door a touch and grab the roll the other just left outside. We've got each other covered. Now, you may think that all of this is superstitious nonsense, and fine. You probably won't believe me anyway. But I just need to talk Jason out of this job. About 3 weeks ago, he got an interview offer from this company. He's been working hard, sending out applications ever since he graduated, and he's been living with me while he does so. I was lucky enough to get a job before I got out of university, so I already had a place. It was fun getting home from work and not having to do schoolwork. Cooking, cleaning, and the other necessities of life are a little annoying, but it's nice to not be required to do them. Also, being able to have your friends over whenever you wish is nice. But okay, back on track. He received this invitation for an interview, and we were both ecstatic that he might get a job. However, this isn't just any job. This is a job with one of the world's largest international companies, who is focused on making the impossible possible. which was all just a load of business jargon if you ask me. But Jason was hooked on the idea and immediately contacted the company to accept the interview. They even arranged and paid for his travel to the interview in person, in DC, on the other side of the country. I helped him prepare for the interview and did some basic knowledge checks and personality questions. All was well until he left for the interview. He was picked up by a taxi and taken to the airport. He texted me that he was taxiing in the airplane and then he was going to switch to airplane mode. And that was the last time I heard from him for the entire trip. About an hour after he said that they were taxiing, I lost his sensation. I couldn't sense him. At first, I tried to calm myself by checking that his plane hadn't crashed. There were no crashes, so I hoped that it was just me, despite feeling as if my soul had been stomped on from the loss of him. So I hoped. After the time that he should have landed, I was worried since I still couldn't feel him and he hadn't contacted me. I hadn't thought to get any information about the flight that he was on, so I had no clue where he was. It may seem like overreacting to some of you, but it truly felt as if he had disappeared from existence. 12 hours later, there was still no word from him. No word of plane crashes. I had no sensation. There was nothing. I contacted Mom. She too was worried and didn't know what to do. I felt bad dragging her into it. I went onto the internet to take a look at this company and to contact them and ask if Jason had arrived. This is when I realized that we had made a major mistake. I couldn't find a single lick of evidence that this company even existed. I may have panicked, but I was sure that Jason was kidnapped and we weren't ever going to hear back from him. I called the authorities and they said they couldn't do anything since this company was not US-based. They weren't grasping the fact that this company didn't exist. The FBI told us that the company did exist and that it was based out of Europe, but even they couldn't point us to a contact number or website. So how exactly does this company exist? Our family was panicking for 2 days. It was 2 days of scouring through every contact we had to see who might be able to point us in the right direction. We had zero help from the police or federal agencies. And then suddenly, he was back 2 days later. This was about an hour or two after I once again felt his sensation. I called Mom to let her know, and she was relieved. I'll spare you the nitty-gritty of how she lectured us on staying in contact and better communicating about our travels. Talking to him, I know that he's holding back information, but he told me a lot. He didn't take a normal flight, it was a private jet. He didn't go to DC, he went out somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. He landed on an island that appeared to be the company's headquarters, and they appeared to own the entire island. He said that it was a standard interview, with them telling him the company basics, followed by personality questions, and then basic engineering problems. I told him about how I couldn't find the company on the internet, and he was a little surprised. And he looked and he couldn't find anything about the company online either. I also told him about the FBI and how they said that it was a European company. He brushed it off. I could have sworn that he thought it was an American company. But then he said that the HQ was on an island in the Pacific. When I told him how I couldn't sense him, he said that he was so freaking out with excitement about the interview that he didn't even notice or think about our sense. This company is screaming red flags, and he is still confident that this company is real and it has a good moral standing. To be fair, I didn't actually meet anyone there since I wasn't the one with the interview. But still, what is going on? They offered him a job at the interview, which he accepted since they are paying him a ton of money. Let's just say that he'll probably be a multimillionaire before he's 30. They said that he was what they were looking for after interviewing thousands of possible candidates. This also screams red flags to me. The pay, the number of other candidates. Who are these people? So that's a rundown of this weird company that my brother is set to start working for next Monday. I have been unsuccessful at talking him out of it. I need help. My sense is telling me that he cannot go back to that place or something terrible is going to happen. My sense has never been wrong, and it is yelling no to this job. So please help me. I'm sorry about any errors or confusion that might be in this story. I'm just freaking out, and I needed to get this out as fast as possible. The point is, my brother simply cannot take this job.